All right, I'm live. Let's see here. Take this. What's going on, guys? Welcome to, I guess, the channel's first live stream, maybe first? No, second. I did a gaming one, but this is like the first actual tech one. What's up, Fubar? What's up, Carlos? What's up, Bakul? Faisal, what's going on? So, I got a couple phones in my hand. Hold on, I gotta get them. All right, let's just everyone get in here first. Start this up. Which is a better buy? I mean, like, I don't know. If you're going to buy these phones, I mean, you got to go for the Pro, right? Pros has all those like extra camera features. I look yellow. Do I still look yellow right now? Just to let you know, this is being filmed on, okay? This is the quality of this right now. This is being filmed on the Surface Book 2 front-facing camera. So, okay, good. I look fine. So Ranveer says I look fine. So this is actually, if you're going to buy a laptop and you want the best webcam, get the Surface Book 2. Hands down, the best front-facing webcam in the business. Yeah, these phones are absolutely gorgeous. So I got the blue models. This is the P20 Pro because it has the third camera. And then this one is the regular P20. So they're both blue. Some other guys got the Twilight version, but I think blue looks great. Okay, so I can't tell you about battery life yet, only because I just got the phones today, so I haven't used it long enough. But I've been playing with the camera like crazy, and I'm really impressed with it, like super impressed, especially at nighttime. The night photos that come out of these cameras are nuts, like absolutely nuts. I can't wait to show you guys. I actually took some great Instagram photos, which I'm going to post in a couple of days. I'm going to do a nice little story and put it together. You're going to appreciate it. Yeah, the image quality and the sound on the Surface Book 2 is awesome. Like I could just do this with a webcam, you know? Yeah, the UI is the same. So like the UI is pretty much the typical Huawei UI that you're used to, which I'm not a fan of. It's very iPhone-esque, but that's what they do, right? Like that's just what they've stuck with for a long time. So the third camera, so they have one telephoto lens, which zooms up to 3 times, which is a little bit more than the iPhone 10 and the Galaxy S9. Got the 40 megapixel sensor, then you have the mono sensor, which obviously does monochrome. So it takes some good photos. I'm super impressed with it so far. I don't know if it's the best yet. I tested it on video. Okay, so I did a video test for stabilization. That was like the first thing I wanted to do because the Pixel has always been hands down the best when it comes to image stabilization. In 1080p, like if you use this phone in 1080p, the image stabilization is just as good as the Pixel. But as soon as you hit 4K, the stabilization is not as good. It's about the same as like the Galaxy S9, so you get kind of like that shaky movement, but it's not too bad. It's just not as great. So 1080p, just as good as Pixel. In 4K, probably similar to the Galaxy S9. What's up, Adrian from Romania? Yeah, wide angle would have been nice, but you know what? Like telephoto is what everyone's doing, so I mean that's what they're sticking to. So it's kind of nice that LG is doing their thing. Well, that's the thing. Like, okay, so Shasant says, Matthew, your personal opinion on the copied design. Okay, let's be honest here. Every single Android manufacturer is copying the iPhone 10's design. So it's not just Huawei, it's everybody, okay? It has the notch, it has the 3 cameras going down. It's just the way things are going to be now for the next year because everyone's trying to go bezel-less. There's nothing we can do about it. I personally don't like the notch, but this one here is significantly smaller. Whoa, yellow. Significantly smaller than the one on the iPhone 10. So if you want to give a good comparison, it's like slightly bigger than the Essential phone. Do you think the OnePlus leaks are true? Okay, this is about the Huawei P20. I'll talk about the OnePlus in another video. Samir says, how do you like the Air Blaster? I'll be honest, I never use it, but it's still there. Actually, I don't even think, yeah, it's still there. They still have the Air Blaster on the top. So for those of you that want an Air Blaster, this is probably one of the only phones that are coming with one this year, at least on a flagship device. Rafael Creel asks, does it have a better camera than the Pixel 2? So Huawei is doing something a little bit different. They have so I was talking about OIS before. So they're using EIS, OIS, and they're also adding a third thing called AIS, which is artificial intelligence to the stabilization process. And like I was saying earlier, it works really, really well in 1080p. But as soon as you switch to 4K, it's like the same as like the Galaxy S9, same as the iPhone 10. So there's not much of a difference. But in terms of picture quality, so far the pictures have been really good. I have to say though, it definitely bumps up the contrast and the saturation on the photos. So if you like those very punchy, over-exaggerated, over-colored photos, that's what you're going to get here. But I think the most impressive thing for me when taking pictures with it is definitely the nighttime photography. This is hands down probably, at least from the 5 hours that I've been using it, hands down probably the best night photos you're going to get on a smartphone, at least from the short time that I've had it. Witter asks, I like how you skipped my question like 12 times. What was your question? Wireless charging? No, there's no wireless charging, unfortunately. Or maybe it does have wireless charging. They didn't actually say during the press conference. Hold on, let me check. Give me a second. I'm going to check for you guys, okay? I'm going to give you guys a live check. Hold on. Yeah, I don't think it has wireless charging. I don't remember them saying anything about wireless charging in the press conference. Yes, you have an SD card. There's definitely an SD card inside of here. So is it coming to Canada on all carriers? I don't have pricing details for Canada, so I'm not sure how much it's going to cost, but it is coming to TELUS and it is coming to Rogers. I don't know about Bell. So if you're TELUS or Rogers or any of their flanker brands, you can most likely pick up the P20 and the P20 Pro. So Kalum MacIver asks, how is the notch? So like I mentioned before, the notch is a notch. I don't like notches, but it's not nearly as intrusive as the one on the iPhone 10. So if I was to compare it to anything, I would say it's a little bit wider than the one on the Essential phone. Like a little bit wider than the one, when I point at the camera, it turns yellow. A little bit wider than one on the Essential phone, but not as tall. Jeff Joseph asks, first, Ash Taylor asks, I want to see a backflip. Okay, that's coming soon. I'll do a backflip around the bed just for you, buddy. And Jeff, wish you were here, Ash, okay? I should be in Paris with me. The next question comes from Jeff. Do you think Apple has too much influence on the smartphone world? 100%. Especially if you've seen what's happening this year with the whole everyone putting a notch on their smartphone. They're obviously trying to go bezel-less. They're obviously trying to have a similar design. They want to make theirs better to show that they can do more than the iPhone. So yeah, 100%. I mean, like they make all the profit. They have a huge reach on the world of smartphones. Erica asks, headphone jack. No headphone jack. Sorry. You're gonna have to start using wireless headphones. And they took away the headphone jack on the Mate 10 Pro, so it's the exact same thing. No, you cannot disable the notch. Actually, that's a good question. I'm not sure if you can disable the notch in seconds. Let's check. Notch. Like I said, guys, like my experience with this phone is basically photography. Like I've been doing nothing. Like I've been walking around Paris, like everywhere, taking photos. So like most of the stuff I know is photos right now, but I haven't really got it. Actually, here's the screen. They actually have a notch section. Okay, so look, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's a notch section right here. So you can hide the notch. There you go. See? Look. Default with the notch. And then one without the notch. Boom. Okay? So there's your answer. You can hide the notch if you don't like it. Yeah, I mean, like if you hide the notch, it pretty much looks exactly like the Galaxy S9. This is thinner than the Galaxy S9. It's less. It has more screen to body, so there's more screen on the body as opposed to where the S9 there's a little bit more bezel. And you have the same shirt. Is it from Desigual? Support SD card. Just Q asks, does it support SD card? Yes, it does. There's no headphone jack, but you do have an Air Blaster. Jeff Joseph asks, how's Paris? Paris is awesome. I love it here. I definitely want to come back. So again, the camera, so far my experience has been really good. But I can't tell you guys right now whether it's better than what I think has the best camera is the Pixel 2. I think from what I've seen so far, it's probably really close. But in nighttime photography, that's where this thing really excels. The nighttime mode on this thing is insane. And apparently this phone can get up to 105,000 ISO, which no other phone can do right now. What does their notch bring to the table? Nothing. It just basically allows the design to be like a lot. It just allows their design to have more screen to bezel, right? So I mean, more screen with less bezel. That's all it does. It's just a design thing. You get more screen on a smaller device that fits in your hand. So is the P20 better than the S9 Plus? Again, like that's something I have to test. Like I said, I've had this phone for 5 hours. Like this is the thing about Android phones. Like they all have their advantages in some way. Like for me, I like the S9 Plus because of the screen. Like I love the display on it. It has one of the best displays on the market. But it doesn't have the best camera. It has a great camera, but if I want the best camera, I'm going to carry a Pixel 2. This is different. This is different. This offers a unique experience. You get the monochrome sensor. You get a 40 megapixel sensor. So if you zoom in a lot, you're going to get a lot more detail because you're working with more megapixels. And the nighttime photography looks fantastic on it. But you don't get a screen that's nearly as good as the Galaxy S9. So they all have their ups and downs. It's just what you prefer. Like, do you prefer a better screen? Do you prefer a better camera? You have to kind of prioritize things. Ahmed Zeda on good quality live stream. Thank you. I was worried about this. I'm actually using a Surface Book 2 front-facing webcam. If I was to do this with any other laptop, I would look like a potato right now. Is the front glass curved? Probably like 2.5D. So it's not like curved like here. I actually have the Galaxy S9 right here. So for those of you curious what phones I brought to Paris, I brought the Galaxy S9. And if you see right here, it's probably like 2.5D. So this basically curves into the body. This is probably 2.5D glass. So slightly thinner. This is the P20, slightly thinner than the Galaxy S9. To give you guys perspective, the Galaxy S9 is 6.2 inches. The Huawei P20 Pro is 6.1 inches. So that's what it looks like side by side. Okay. And if you want to do thickness, the P20 Pro definitely looks a little bit thicker, but it's obviously slightly shorter. And I'd probably say, yeah, slightly shorter and slightly less wide than the Galaxy S9. So a lot more comfortable to hold in your hand and expected. It's 6.1 compared to 6.2. Hello to you too, Fernando. I'm not sure if it's dual SIM. It'll probably be dual SIM in certain parts of the world, but probably if it comes to North America, it's not going to be dual SIM. Can I throw it on the ground? I'll tell you what, Hugo. Send me a P20 Pro and I'll throw yours on the ground and I'll make a video out of it. The Mate RS. I don't know what the Mate RS is. If you're talking about the Mate 10, pretty much all the hardware in the Mate 10 is the hardware that's being used in the P20 and the P20 Pro. But they've made other AI changes on these phones to do some of the new things. And unlike Samsung, these ones come with Android 8.1. So you get the latest version of Android. Yes, everywhere in Europe, they're basically flooding the market with Huawei P20 Pro. It was actually a really funny ad. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Huawei parked their trucks right in front of the Apple store. What would you have, S9 or P20 Pro? Man, that's like I'm a crack addict, man. When it comes to smartphones, I'm switching every week. So it's like you're asking like a double-edged question. Like I'm going to be I was using the S9 since it came out. Now I'm probably going to switch to the P20 Pro for a while. And then once that's done, I might go back to the S9. I might use a different phone that comes out. It's hard to say, but right now I'm going to probably switch to the P20 Pro for a little while. Callum asks, how long am I in Paris? I'm in Paris until tomorrow. I'm flying back to Toronto tomorrow. Fazil Iqbal asks, at which frame rate is slow-mo? So slow-mo is 960 frames per second. I tested it out. It's okay. I'd probably say the slow motion on the Galaxy S9 is slightly better. And also definitely better on the Sony Xperia XZ2, which is not out yet, but it's coming out this month. Does it come with a headphone adapter for the headphone jack? Yes, it does. It's in the box. It's in my bag, but I did open it. There's a headphone adapter in the box in case you want to hook up your headphones to it. What's the benefit of the Knotch? Nothing. Just basically to have smaller bezels with more screen. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing fancy going on here. There's no like Face ID that's as good as Apple's iPhone 10. And you still have the fingerprint scanner, but this time instead of on the back, you have it on the bottom of the phone. So if you miss the old days of having it on the bottom, that's what you'll get on the P20 and the P20. That's the wrong. Like 32-bit DAC inside if you're like the LG phone. I have original Pixel. Should I get an S9 Plus or a P20? Honestly, if you have the original Pixel, you're probably good for another year. It's still a great phone. My brother-in-law uses the original Pixel. He's happy with it. It's still a fast phone. I'd probably wait another year. But if you had to buy a phone right now, it's tough to say. Like their S9 Plus is a great phone. P20, I can't tell you yet. I've only used it for 5 hours, but so far it's been pretty good. I mean, so Fernando says that fingerprint is awfully placed. The phone is so visually unbalanced. Porsche design made it right. Okay, so in speaking of visuals, this is the one thing I noticed about the P20 Pro. They mentioned this in the actual press conference. The P20 Pro, in terms of symmetry, is a lot more symmetrical than the iPhone 10 and a lot more symmetrical than the Galaxy S9. Like if you were to take a look at the port placement on the Galaxy S9, you would notice that the headphone jack is not centered. Whereas on everything on the P20 Pro is perfectly centered. So if you're talking about symmetry, I would definitely say the P20 Pro has better symmetry than the Galaxy S9 Plus. Yes, it has. Ben Dask asks, does it have stereo speakers? Yes. One speaker on the bottom, and then of course you have another speaker that's placed in the earpiece. Good replacement for a P9 Plus. It's 2 years old. Yeah, it'd be a great upgrade. I mean, like 2 years is like the year that you decide that you're going to upgrade. Would you rather give up the beard or P20? Are you serious? This beard is here to stay forever. This pathetic beard that like never gets bigger can never be given up. I haven't tested out the speakers. You know what? Since we're here, let's do it right now. I'll play it for you guys live on this live stream. We just go to SoundCloud. So obviously it's not going to sound as good if you're in person, but I can tell you how it compares to other phones. So let's see. All right. You guys ready for a speaker test? Okay. Let's do this. I'm just going to pick any song. I don't know what this is. I can't tell you if it's any good. Oh, it's terrible. Okay. Okay, first impressions. Okay. Okay, dual speakers. Always a great thing on a smartphone, even if it's in the earpiece and the bottom of the phone. But based on my first impressions of listening to it, I don't think it's better than the one that's on the Galaxy S9 Plus or the iPhone 10. So probably third rate compared to them. So they're okay. I just don't think they're as great as the other two phones. Does it have Face ID? That's a good question. Let's check if it has Face ID. Let's see here. Face unlock. Yes, there is Face unlock. Here you go. You can see right here. It has Face unlock in case you want to use that instead of your fingerprint scanner. Let's test it out. Let's see how long it takes to unlock the phone. I'll tell you right now. Here we go. Okay, I'm just entering my PIN here. Continue. All right, here we go. Okay, my face is successfully enrolled. Let's see if I can do this so you guys can see. This is live direct unlock. Okay, we got that selected. All right, here we go. Okay, you guys ready? Here it goes. That's actually really fast. Do you see that? Watch. You guys ready? Watch this. Here you go again. You ready? 1, 2, 3, push the button. Okay, that is significantly faster than the Galaxy S9 Plus. Here's the Galaxy S9 Plus. Okay, you ready for this? This is intelligent Face ID. You see the little light going? Okay, here we go. Okay, that probably took about 30 milliseconds longer. Here, we'll do it at the same time. Okay, here we go. Okay, hold on. Oops, hold on. 1, 2, 3. See that? See how much faster it logged in? Let's do it again, one more time. Yeah, so much faster on the P20 Pro. Is the camera really better than the Pixel 2? I don't know yet. I got to compare it to the Pixel 2 to give you guys a better answer. How's the OLED display? Okay, so Callum asks, how is the OLED display? The P20 does not have an OLED display, the smaller one. It's using an RGB. It's basically an LCD display. The OLED display is on the bigger P20 Pro. So if you want OLED, you got to go for the big P20 Pro. Is it as good as the S9 Plus? No. It's nice. It's just not as bright. It's just not as vivid. The colors are not as punchy. So if you prefer those punchy colors, then you're going to want to go with the S9 Plus because it has a better display. Tommy Griffin asks, hey, Matthew, I have a Galaxy S6 Edge and I really wanted to get the Mate 10 Pro in the next week or two. Should I hold off and get the P20? Honestly, it's a good question. Like, all the internals inside of the Mate 10 Pro are going to be the same as the P20 for the most part. I did find the Mate 10 Pro to be a little bit bigger to hold in the hand, but not bad at all. If you want like the latest and greatest, go for the P20. But I mean, in terms of day-to-day use, I don't think you're going to see a huge difference in terms of performance. It's just if you want like the small little things. So like if you want more of a sleeker design, easier to hold in one hand. If you want the third 40 megapixel camera to get more detail if you zoom in into your shot, or if you want just the little things that make a P20, then I'd say go for it. But I don't think it's going to be like a huge difference. So if you can save a lot of money and you don't mind, get the Mate 10. You know what? So Vinay Venkina asks, is the Kirin 970, which is the chip that's inside of these phones, worth it on the phone itself? So my experience with the Kirin chip has always been good. There was a time where when the Snapdragon 810 was out, or even the 835, not the 835, I think it was the 810. And Huawei had their Kirin, I think it was the 950 or 955. It was like the only Android phone that was running buttery smooth. So Huawei always does a good job with their chips. And because they make their own chips, they're able to optimize it with the OS better than like the SKUs of Snapdragon chips that are sent out to like every single manufacturer for their flagship phone. So no, they do a great job. How is it the under-display fingerprint sensor? Is it fast and responsive? So it's not an under-display fingerprint sensor. It's on the bottom of the bezel. The only difference this time is that it's flush with the glass, but it's not under the display. It's just really, really flat. What's the lotto numbers for next week? You should ask anything. The lotto numbers for next week is 69, 69, 69, 69, okay? If you win, you got to give me half of it. So I probably got 6 gigabytes of RAM. They usually give the ones with the more storage and the more RAM, so probably 6 gigabytes. I'll check for you right now. Hold on. Yeah, 6 gigabytes. Here are the stats. I don't know if you can see it. Hold on. Front-facing camera problems here. You can kind of see it. Hold on. Wait. If I do it like this, you can sort of see it. Yeah, so right there, 6 gigabytes of RAM. No, it definitely does not get hot like the Snapdragon 810. Snapdragon 810 was like one of the worst chips that was ever put in a smartphone. Yeah, 6 gigabyte RAM is the Pro variant, and then you got 4 gigabytes of RAM in the smaller P20 variant. Which phone you personally use now? I use the Galaxy S9 right now. I use the Galaxy S9 Plus, but I also carry an iPhone with me because I use it for two things. I use it for a lighting meter, which tells me the Kelvin, which is just a lot easier than pulling out like a white card. And I use it to unlock my door. That's it. What is your personal views on DxOMark? Well, I said this in my Twitter post when I posted about these phones today. My personal views on DxOMark is basically that I always take their ratings with a grain of salt. I always find that real life use tells a bigger story than the performance benchmarks they post on their website. Like, let's look at it this way. I mean, first of all, if you want to get the exact details, you have to really go deep into their analytics and see exactly how they tested their phones. But the Pixel 2 has one of the lower scores now, at least when you compare it to the Huawei P10. The Huawei P20, the Galaxy S9. It's still a lower score, but still takes better pictures in a lot of situations. So that's why I always take their ratings with a grain of salt, because they really don't speak to real life use. Yes, so Benjamin, I already did that earlier in the video. So if you like rewind a little bit, you can go ahead and check that out, but it's there. Is the camera on the P20 Pro better than the S9? Again, like I said, I just got this phone today, but I'm really impressed with like some of the photos we took. I'm going to do a really cool Instagram story timeline thing for you guys, probably the next couple of days, about Paris and like where I went and everything using the Huawei P20. It's going to look really cool, and you guys can make the decision for yourself. But I can't really say. I have to do a camera comparison. I don't like the design. Is it better to wait for the Mate 20? Currently using the S8. So Sabay, if you're going to wait for the Mate 20, it's most likely going to be a thin, small design like this. So this year and maybe next year is going to be the year of the Knotch, and you're going to get these type of hybrid designs where it has a notch, small bezels, fingerprint scanner is either in the back or you can use Face ID. But yeah, you're not going to be escaping this design for a long time until Android manufacturers can figure out a way to put all their sensors and everything under the display itself. If you hide the notch and open up another so if you hide the notch and open up another app, it's going to work exactly like every other Android smartphone that doesn't have a notch. So it's like using the phone you have now without a notch. What do you see in the cup? No, that's not a question. Is 3 gigabytes of RAM enough for a phone? You know what? Like, for me personally, I don't think it's enough just because I'm a very heavy user. But if you do very basic stuff, so like browsing the web, email, and keeping it simple, I think you can get by with 3 gigabytes. But if you're like gaming, constantly multitasking, doing a lot of productivity tasks, going between so many applications, I think you need at least 4. I think like 4 is the baseline now in Android. So this is their P20 chips usually support a global band now. They're 970 chips. So yes, this one should have US bands. What are your thoughts on Huawei slowly eliminating the headphone jack? Well, like I said before, this is what every manufacturer is doing. If you want a headphone jack, this is one of the only companies that are doing it right now. Huawei, probably the Pixel doesn't have a headphone jack anymore. The iPhone doesn't have a headphone jack, obviously. Everyone's getting rid of the headphone jack. Maybe the OnePlus 6 will have a headphone jack, most likely, but for how much longer? Maybe 1 more year? 2 years if you're lucky. So eventually we're going to have to get used to it. I hate it because there's been times where I've been in the car and I'm like, shit, I need a headphone jack. I need to plug this cable into my phone because my car is old, right? And it doesn't have Bluetooth. So I have to plug it into a headphone jack and I'll be like, oh crap, I can't do it. But then I brought this the other day and I was like, perfect. I can just plug this in. What's the software like? What's the best thing about this phone? Let's be real. So software, honestly, Ash, it's like if you've used a Huawei phone before, it's the exact same thing. Like there's really no difference. Like you have Google Now when you swipe to the left, and then you have your typical Huawei theming. Very iPhone-like. If you want the app drawer, you have to go into your settings and enable it. But in terms of software, it's exactly the same. But there is a lot more AI implemented into this. So they're doing a lot more things. So for example, in their camera, before when they talked about AI in their camera, you'd be able to detect scenes and it would change the way the colors would look. So I was out today and we took a picture of the sky and one of the bridges here in Paris. And what they did to the sky was you can see in the camera app, it detected a blue sky. So it completely like increased the contrast of the sky and just became ridiculously blue. Some people will like it. I personally didn't like it. I thought it was like way too contrasty to the point where it's kind of gets unappealing. So they're just using AI to automate some of those tasks for people who are not great at taking photography. What's software like? What's the best thing about this phone? Let's be real. Yeah, honestly, the best thing about this phone so far is the camera. I mean, that's basically what I'm feeling the most happy about is the camera. Is it the best one? Like I said before, I don't know until I do these comparisons, but I've taken some fantastic nighttime photography pictures, and I'm definitely going to share with you guys. They're really, really good. Yes, they're both 1080p. They're like 2180? No, 2180. Oh, I forget the specs. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. 2240 by 1080. Yeah, 2240 by 1080 for both of them. So you technically have a higher pixel count on the smaller version. Yes, the Super Mo Slow does have automatic motion detection, but it's not as good as the one on the S9. I mean, the only one, if you want the best slow-mo at 960, you're going to have to get the Sony Xperia XZ2 because it's the only phone right now doing it at 1080p. These ones, the lighting conditions have to be, for all of them, the lighting conditions have to be perfect, but it's a gimmick. Like you're going to do it once or twice, show it to your friends, and you're probably not going to do it again. Does it have a heavy skin on top of Android? I just saw a leaked photo of the OnePlus 6. Should I wait? It's probably coming in less than a month. So if you've used a Huawei phone before, like I said, was telling Ash earlier, typical Huawei skin, very iPhone-like, a lot of AI features, stuff like that. So if you don't like that kind of stuff, you want more of a clean look, other phones are going to do a better job, like the OnePlus 6, I guess, and of course the Pixel line. How is the battery life at the moment? Honestly, like I said, had it for 5 hours. Now, the cool thing is this. These phones are pretty much the exact same. So this phone has a 4,000 milliamp battery, okay? And it is smaller, has less bezel than the S9 Plus. So technically, you should get much better battery life than the S9 Plus, which only has a 3,500 milliamp battery. And it also has a lower resolution display. So you put all those things together, and you should get better battery life on the P20 Pro. The P20 has, I think, a 3,400 milliamp battery. I think it's 3,480 or 3,400. I'll tell you right now. Yeah, 3,400. So that's 400 more milliamps than the Galaxy S9. Again, you should be able to get better battery life. How does it feel in the hand? It feels good. I mean, it's slippery. Actually, let's see. So this is, okay, so I have the S9 Plus again. I definitely say the P20 Pro is much more comfortable. It feels a lot more comfortable to hold. This feels kind of a little bit more sharper to hold. I'd probably drop this phone a lot more than I would drop this phone. So pretty comfortable. If you want like perfect comfortability, you're gonna want to get the P20 instead. Like it's like a great size. Like, you know, you can still use it with one hand. It's not gonna fall out of it. It's just a great size overall. Motion detection. Will it cook for you? I'm hoping it does, because I can't cook. How you are able to play duplicate role so smoothly in comparison videos? I don't get that. What do you mean duplicate role? Can you like expand on that? Is the speaker loud on the phone? So I talked about the speaker earlier. Dual speakers on the P20 Pro. It's okay. It's good, better than a mono speaker, but I still think the speakers on the S9 Plus, the iPhone 10 are better. Yes, Jabri asks about the cameras again. So I mean, some of you guys are just coming in right now. I already talked about the cameras fully. Cameras are fantastic on this phone so far. Don't know if it's the best. I got to do my comparisons, but they are good from what I've seen so far. But they do like bump up the saturation and the contrast. Yes, lots of fingerprints. I don't know if you can see it. Hold on. Let's see if I can get. You can't see it in the camera, but trust me, there's a lot of fingerprints on this right now. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, you can't tell in the camera. This camera makes everything look good, except for me. But yeah, there's lots. It's a fingerprint magnet. It's a glass back, right? So I had a conversation about this. So Super Chaos 002 asks, Best Buy in Canada is being forced to stop carrying Huawei phones due to privacy issues. What's your take on the whole issue? So the only reason Best Buy Canada is pulling Huawei phones from their stores because they're obviously owned by Best Buy USA, and it's a whole chain. And it's not Best Buy Canada who's actually carrying them. It's technically the carriers who sell the phones. So they're just saying to the carriers, listen, we don't want you selling your Huawei phones in our store anymore because of Best Buy USA. Now, what do I personally think about this? I think it's all politics. I mean, in Canada, our entire infrastructure is built using Huawei's networking equipment. And that goes for places in Europe. That goes for places in Asia. That goes for a lot of places in the world. The only place where you won't find Huawei's infrastructure, like their networking technology, the equipment that's being used in their cell towers, is in the United States. Now, it's not just Huawei who's being banned there. It's ZTE. Xiaomi wants to go to the States, but I don't think they're going to go there anymore because it's just going to have the same issue. So it's 100% a political play. I mean, China is blocking out American companies in China, so U.S. is returning the favor by blocking out some Chinese companies. In terms of being a security issue, I don't think it is, or else we wouldn't be using their networking equipment in our country. And even the government of Canada released a whole press article about it saying, listen, if there was a reason for us to stop using Huawei's technology, we would go ahead and do that. S9's battery, any better than the S8? I have never used the S9, only the S9 Plus. The battery life on it is okay. Yeah, who copies a Knotch? How did I make the duplicate comparison videos where I do a split screen? Oh, that's a whole nother video. Maybe one day I'll tell you guys. It's a lot of work and you need help. Usually Ash helps me when he's around, but you need someone else to do that. I mean, I could do it by myself, but the video won't be as interesting because you need someone to time it. Is the best bang for the buck when it comes to price? Yes, Calvin McCaver does have super slow-mo, 960 frames per second. Barbara Ali asks me, where am I? I'm in Paris, France. Porsche Mate design. I don't have the Porsche Mate design. I asked for one. I'll try asking for it again. I'll see if I can get my hands on it. Then I will. Thanks, IR. I appreciate it. So Adam asks, would I pick the Galaxy S9 Plus or the P20 Pro? Again, I don't know. I gotta review these things. Remember, it's only been what, 5 hours? Give me some time, guys. Okay, and I'll let you know which one I prefer to use for a daily driver. But right now, I'm gonna put my SIM in this card so I can review it. Put this one aside for now, and then maybe I'll keep this one a little bit longer afterwards. I don't know. Yeah, you can hide the notch, which is great. US bands. So I don't know if this one has US bands. This is the European version. Like the plug that I have in the box is the European plug. It's going to work in the US, even this being the European model. I think it has most of the bands. It might be missing one or two, but it will work in the States, at least the European version. US carry bands. What's more impressive, the Twilight color or ATC? Okay. Let me know in the comments right now. What do you guys think of the Twilight color of the P20 Pro? So if you haven't seen the Twilight color, it's basically like a mishmash of green, purple, and blue. And depending how you reflect it, you get a different color. I want to know what you think before I tell you my answer. Samir asks, your favorite feature beside the camera, for God's sakes? Oh, man, that's the only thing I've been really testing is the camera. So, I mean, like, everything else has been pretty standard Android, you know? Probably the way it feels in my hand would be another great feature. Yeah, I mean, that's it so far. Like I need to like use it longer, play with the software more. Okay, so far we got Twilight is awesome. It is so sexy. Twilight color looks dope, followed by Solar Red HTC. Twilight is lit. Okay, so it seems like most of you guys like Twilight. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I think I'll say this. It's definitely different than the standard one-tone colors we're seeing on smartphones. I don't even know I'm holding this up. This ain't no Twilight, okay? This is blue. But anyways, pretend this is Twilight. I mean, it looks, I don't know. I think it looks a little tacky. Kind of a little too tacky, but that's just my opinion. I think it's cool that they're trying new things. So some people might like it. I personally prefer this blue color. I think this looks awesome. But that's just my personal preference. Oh, and I like their black version. The black version looks sick. In your opinion, what is the best Android phone ever? Oh man. See, so that's a tough question. Like in terms of hardware features, I think the Galaxy S9 is the best Android phone just because it has every single hardware feature you want in a smartphone. So like headphone jack, wireless charging, fast wireless charging, no notch, great external speakers. But the software is not my favorite. And I don't like the edges on the phone. Even though it's gotten much better, it's still not my favorite thing. But then you have something like the Pixel 2, which has like hands down the best software, one of the best cameras, it gets instant updates. So it's really hard to see which one is the best phone. Like you have to sit down by yourself and make a list. What do you value most in a smartphone? Is it the camera first? Put that as number one. Is it display second? Put that as number two. So for me personally, I always valued the display as number one. Like I need to have an amazing display. Then it's the camera. Camera and display have to be pretty close to each other for me. So the phone has to have a good camera. The S9 Plus has a good camera. Is it the best? No. I personally prefer the one on the Pixel 2, and I sometimes actually even prefer the one on the iPhone. I find Samsung's really aggressive with their sharpening. So, I mean, it really comes down to like your own preferences. So, I mean, like everyone's answer is going to be different. Oh, how much time does it take to record your comparison videos? The day, like one entire day, plus B-roll, plus editing, maybe 2 days. So, okay, this is a little off topic here. We've been here for like 40 minutes. So first and foremost, thank you for like spending 40 minutes with me. For those of you who have been, and even just for the new people who came in, thank you for like spending this time. This is awesome. Number two, do you want to see more live streams? I've always been kind of nervous about doing this because I don't know how you guys would react to it. Do you guys like this? Do you want me to never do it again? Like, do you want me to just like shut this screen down right now and stop? Yes, more live streams? Okay. Callum, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Okay. So more live streams going forward. It's one of those tricky situations. I don't want to just make my channel all live streams, but I think there's like moments when you need to do a live stream. So like when a phone's announced, and I've talked about this with Ash too, like Do it when the phone's announced. Do it when the new product's announced. Get it out. So maybe we'll make them a little bit more professional. Yeah, no, you know what? Like it's a great way for me to talk to you guys. So yeah, I don't think doing a live stream every single week is a good thing unless I'm doing like a podcast. But I think for situations like this, especially today, I didn't have time to do a hands-on because I was doing a lot of photography stuff. Good way to talk to you guys and give you guys a one-on-one with the phone. So I already answered this, Padma. My personal phone right now is the Galaxy S9 Plus. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. So so that's a good question. So who is it who's asked that question? One person asked, how good is the P20 camera in comparison to the P20 Pro? So first and foremost, with the P20, you don't get that extra sensor. You can do most of the stuff with the P20, but like for example, you're not going to get the 40 megapixel sensor. Or hold on a second, I'm totally confusing myself. This is what happens when you just like rush out and basically jump right into the thing. And yeah, that's right. Okay. So if you want the 40 megapixel sensor, you got to get the P20 Pro. But this P20 still comes with a 20 megapixel sensor. So you're going to get a lot more detail. Obviously, if you zoom into photos, is it going to be a lot better? Not going to be a big difference compared to the P20. So that's one of the biggest things. The second thing was, oh man, there's two more things that the camera did that this one didn't do. Okay, that's what it was. It's my pleasure, man. I'm glad to answer you guys' questions. My thoughts on the upcoming iPad Pro with iPhone X design. Honestly, I have been off of Twitter for the past 2 days. I know Apple's having an education. Did they have the educational event already? Like, did it actually happen? I have no idea. So I don't know I don't know what exactly they're doing. Why are the sensors separated on the P20 Pro? Okay, so what's the best way to show this? I think the biggest difference is optical zoom. Let's see. No, this one has optical. Yeah. Okay, this is the biggest difference. So the reason why they're more separated, on the P20 Pro, you can zoom in up to 3 times. On the P20, you can only zoom in up to 2 times. So the telephoto lens on the P20 Pro does a better job of zooming. So you can get 3 times as opposed to 2. Like I tested it out, like it makes it's noticeable, you know, like when I find when I go from 1 to 2, it's not that big of a deal, but going from 1 to 3, much better. The speakers on, like I said before, the speakers on this are not as good as the S9 Plus. Yes, Adri Mora asked, how about the low light photography? I haven't tested low light photography on the P20. All the shots I've been taking are with the P20 Pro, but they should be pretty close. They both have fairly close apertures. They have a very high, they have the largest pixel size. So you're going to get a lot more light in all those photos. Do you think that if they would have included the third sensor with the other two, would have been much better in a flush design? Include the third sensor with the other two. What do you mean with the smaller P20? If they included sensor, I mean, I don't know if they could fit it. Plus, they need to like establish different features to upsell you to a bigger phone, right? I'm not sure what the price on it is. It's gonna be different for every country. I never pay attention to the price because, like in Canada, it's always like $5,000, and then everywhere else in the world, it's like $1,000. Should I get the P20 or should I wait for the Pixel 3? This is from Tim Yang. How about compared to the S9? First question to ask when everybody asks me what phone I should get is, what phone are you using right now? So Tim, what phone are you using right now? Thank you, man, Faisal, for being up at 3:30 in the morning and tuning in, man. I really appreciate it. Yes, front-facing camera does support portrait mode. Here, I'll take a picture right now. Let's do it. So let's flip this around. So you got a portrait mode right here. So they call it aperture mode. Hold on a second. I don't think the front-facing camera does support portrait mode. So there is a portrait mode, but it's not like your typical blurred background portrait mode. So if you want that blurred background, you have to click on aperture mode. That's what Huawei calls it. Portrait mode is more cropped. That's the biggest difference. But the night mode, this is the one you're going to want to test. The night mode makes a big difference in low light. Okay, so Nosa Nazrel asks, is it IP68 or IP67? That's another feature I forgot to mention. P20 Pro is IP67. P20 is only IP53, which is kind of disappointing. You expect both of them to be water resistant. Water resistant, not water resistant. Or kind of splash resistant, I guess you would say. Yes, Erica, Canadian conversions are ridiculous. You have to like give up a kidney. Yeah, the software is getting better on the Huawei. So Udela Ilmaz asks, I used a Huawei smartphone last year, and I kind of like the software. Now I have the Xperia XZ, and now I want to go back to the Huawei smartphone. So I don't like the way it looks. There's some things that I do like. Like I like the way they show the notifications. I think it looks nice. I just don't like the blatant copy of the icons. Like it just looks too clunky in my opinion. There's no design there, you know? It's just, I don't know. That's the only thing I don't like is basically the icons. But Sam already answered that question about the notch trends coming on Android. If you go back to earlier in the video, it's there. Tell us about your actual profession. Are you a full-time YouTuber? This is more of a Q&A than anything, but yes, I am. Is the camera better than the Galaxy S9? I already answered that. Hi, Matt. Late to the stream, but is there wireless charging? No, there's no wireless charging. Yes, I could do that. Mate 10 versus P20 Pro. So again, Mate 10 versus P20 Pro. So I'm going to do this stream for like 5 more minutes. I'm going to call it quits. It's already been 46 minutes. But in terms of like internals, the Mate 10 and P20 are pretty much the exact same thing. You're basically paying for better cameras. You're paying for the option to choose a smaller or bigger device. You're paying for a better design, minus the notch. You're paying for more improved AI, the latest version of Android, 8.1. I don't think the Mate 10 has 8.1. I think it's just running 8.0. And you're also paying for, yeah, that's basically it. Camera, design, AI, latest version of Android. With all the internals, like 970, it's all the same. Oh, Tim, you're using the LG G5. I feel sorry for you. That phone is terrible. Well, it's kind of mean. I shouldn't say that, but the LG G5 is actually, you know what? It's not terrible. I mean, it's fine. But should I get the P20 or wait for the Pixel 3? Honestly, if you're at this point, I don't know. I mean, that's a hard question. Like, is your phone falling apart? Are you happy with it at the moment? If you're kind of happy, you could stick around. Maybe you want to wait. If you're dying to get a new phone, then yeah, pick up the P20. Any chance Canada will block Huawei products like the US? As of right now, no. They will not be blocking. Huawei phones. The only way they'll block Huawei phones is if they find a reason to. If they investigate and they find something weird going on, then they'll block it. Tim, thank you, man. Appreciate it. You really didn't have to do that, but that's awesome of you, dude. I appreciate it. Thanks, Tim. Wow. I didn't expect anyone to do that. I honestly don't expect anything from you guys. I just expect you guys to come hang out. You don't have to give me any money. Toronto's great. I'm not there. I'm in Paris, France right now. What do you think people's first phone to look at should be if they want to look past Apple and Samsung? Oh, man. So if you don't want to look at Apple and Samsung, in North America right now, let's pretend Huawei doesn't exist. Your options are basically LG. Like in terms of popular phones, you have LG, you have HTC doesn't exist in Canada anymore. And Motorola is not that big in Canada. It is in the States. I know Verizon's really still heavy on Motorola. And that's pretty much it. So if I couldn't get the Pixel, let's say the Pixel, Galaxy S9, and the iPhone didn't exist, this would be my next step. Have Huawei improved always-on display? Okay, let's check it out. That's a good question. All right, so this question is for Sammy Vitasalo. Let's see here. Display. Not sure if this even has always-on display. Home screen style. No, actually, let's change that right now. Jordan. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can get the always-on display here. Okay, always display information. Okay, here, let's see. Screen style, watercolor. I don't think they have an always-on display. I don't think it exists. I could be wrong though, but I don't. As just from like quickly looking, I don't see it anywhere. Yeah, I don't think there's an always on display. Oh, here we go. Always display information. You're absolutely right. They do have it. Okay, here we go. So here it is. I'm going to turn it on. Let's close it. Yeah, it's not working. I don't know what's going on here. All day. Always display. Oh, here we go. All day. There we go. Let's try now. Yeah, it's not working. Huh. Okay. So I don't know. I'm going to play with it. I'll let you know if I get it working, but there is always on display. It's just not working right now for whatever reason. Hello. What's the sound like compared to the Mate 10? Oh, I got to compare them both. But if I remember correctly, I think the Mate 10 Pro has better external speakers. Thanks, Benjamin. I will. So Frank, that's going to change. So the only carrier right now that's carrying a flagship Huawei phone is Rogers. This year, the P20 is going to come to TELUS. It's also going to come to Rogers, and you're going to see a lot bigger presence of Huawei in Canada. It's when the Nexus 6P came to Canada. That's when Huawei started like really pushing their smartphones, and then after the P10, and now you're going to see a big push for the P20. Will I be reviewing the Mi Mix 2S? Yes, I'm going to be reviewing it at some point. I just got to get my hands on it first. The connection that I have to get one is a little bit slower, so you probably won't see my review until all the big guys do it first. So the blue shift on the screen is because of this shitty webcam I'm using. Like if I even, so this is my Samsung Galaxy S9. It'll probably look blue too. Yeah, see, it looks blue too in the camera. Would you pick up a MacBook Pro over Surface Book 2? No. I would not. I don't like Macs. I mean, sorry, I take that. That's a little harsh. I like Macs, but I don't like Macs for me. And the reason being is because I game. I also use Adobe Premiere. And for me personally, it runs a lot better on a PC than it does on a Mac. So me personally, I wouldn't buy a MacBook Pro. But if you live in that world, they're fine if you do certain things. Okay, we're getting off topic here. Camera comparisons. You're definitely going to see some camera comparisons as soon as I get back, so stay tuned for that. Thank you, Don Roslino from Russia. I appreciate you being here. Honda, my beard, I did it for you. What did Huawei say about software updates? They didn't really talk about software updates, to be honest. They didn't say if they're going to have them on time. They just basically talked about it running the latest version of Android 8.1, which I thought was really cool. Porsche design probably costs, my guess, 1,500 to 1,800 euros. That's going to be my guess. I already told people what my main phone was. You can go back in the video for that. Do you know if Huawei have sourced the OLED panels from Samsung? Are there any color shifts? No. Honestly, I think this is the exact. So I think it's the exact same panel as the one in the Mate 10 Pro. To be honest, like it doesn't look like I have the Galaxy S9. And I was showing a colleague, and I showed it to her, and she's like, the one of the Galaxy S9 still looks a lot better. So it's probably, if it's from Samsung, it's one of their inferior displays, because Samsung's obviously not going to give their better ones to Huawei. But it's still a good OLED display. It's just not as good as the one on the Galaxy S9. But it's definitely better than the one on the Pixel 2 XL, if that helps you guys with context. I'll send you 2 S9s. Can you unbox again? I didn't unbox it. I just basically pulled it out of my bag. The box is just like the charger. I think these are prototype units, to be honest. Is the P20 Pro chip better than SD 845, Snapdragon 845? Okay, that's a new question. So it has more cores. I think there's 12 cores in here. And there's a lot more artificial intelligent processing going on than the Snapdragon 845. So from that perspective, it might have an advantage. But in terms of like raw sheer performance, the Snapdragon 845 benchmarks better. But based on personal use, and this goes for like the previous Kirin chips that I've used in the Huawei P10, I still find the Kirin chips to be like one of the more smoother performing Android phones, like pretty close, or like if not the same as the Pixel lineup. So real life use, amazing, but doesn't benchmark as nearly as fast as the Snapdragon 845 and obviously the iPhone 10. What happened about gaming laptop? Don't know what that has to do with the stream, but I'm using the Surface Book 2 because it's a 1060 inside here, so I can game. And the reason why I use the Surface Book 2 because it's light, it's portable, and most importantly, I edit video on it, and the screen is gorgeous. And this webcam, I mean, look, I'm doing a live stream on a front-facing webcam on a laptop. Come on. You try doing that on your MacBook 720p potato cam. It's just not going to happen. Does it use all three cameras at once? Yes. So depending on what you're doing, you have your, no, sorry, take that back. Does not use all three cameras at once. If you're doing a telephoto shot, you're going to be using the telephoto lens. If you're going to be doing a regular shot, you're using the monochrome and the 40 megapixel sensor. It gets combined. The monochrome gets all the detail. And then, of course, you get all your, the color sensor gets all the detail, and the monochrome sensor boosts its color saturation to give you those nicer photos. Thank you, Erica, for joining. I really, really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Screen resolution, 2280 by 1080. It's not as intrusive. So he asked, do I like the notch? It's not as intrusive as the one on the iPhone 10. It's slightly bigger than the one on the Essential phone. Not as bad, but it's a notch at the end of the day. Are you excited for Marvel Infinity War? Yes, I definitely want to see. I still need to see Black Panther. I'm so behind. I haven't seen any movies. It's pathetic. It's just been work, kids, life. Yeah, so great point by IR1980. He says Pixel and Huawei devices tend to optimize their software the best for the hardware available to them. This is why you don't see many software issues with these phones. I 100% agree. When you have, so this was the first, okay, I'll start with Google because we pretty much know the story for Huawei. When you are able, so this is the first year Google was to have sorry, I'm stuttering. This was the first year that Google had a huge influence on the way the hardware was produced by using HTC's engineer when they built the Pixel. Now, it's technically still using a Snapdragon 835, which is basically the run-of-the-mill flagship chips, but they were able to optimize their software using those chips in ways that other manufacturers couldn't do. But to take it one step even further, when you make the chip yourself, like Huawei does with the Kirin 970, you can take it up even another notch and have that efficiency and optimization that's a little bit closer to like what the iPhone does or what Apple does with their iPhone. And you're going to see Google doing eventually making their own chips for their own phones. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but I say in the next 3 to 5 years, the chips that are going to go inside Google phones are going to be made by them because they're going to be able to do things that these run-of-the-mill Snapdragon chips can't do. So Emin asked, do I like phones being all screen nowadays? You know what? I like looking at them. I think they're beautiful. Again, minus the notch. I like the fact that they're smaller in your hand so you can get more screen and still comfortably use your phone with one hand at the same time. I should probably keep holding the phone so you guys can see. But there's compromises being made. So for one, some people are getting rid of the fingerprint sensor. People are getting rid of the headphone jack. So it's, there's opportunity cost. You get some of the good, but some of the other stuff has to go. And consumers don't like change, right? And sometimes I don't either. Like the headphone jack is probably the biggest one for me. How bad does the back collect fingerprints compared to that sign? Honestly, the exact same. They're both pretty bad when it comes to collecting. Here, actually, you can see it a little bit here. Hold on. If I glare, I don't know, you can see it along here. Fingerprints. Trust me, both of these phones are just full of fingerprints right now. When it'll be available in Australia, I'm not sure. You have to check with your carriers. P30 predictions. Too early for me to predict. Profession. Okay, you know what, guys? I think this is pretty much it. It's been like 1 hour of a live stream. So I'm going to call it quits here. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me on the live stream. So it seems the consensus that you guys like this. Tim, dude, I appreciate it, man. My pleasure, man. Happy early Easter to you too. I appreciate you for being here. I can't wait for Infinity War as well. I'm looking forward to it as well. Thank you, Tim. You're the best. Yes, thank you, all of you guys. Honestly, you guys are the best. This channel wouldn't be here without you. So I appreciate you guys taking the time for being here. So yeah, until next time, I'll be back in Toronto tomorrow. I got 2 more videos coming out this week. I'm going to do a video on this. I got another video on something else. And that's pretty much it. So you guys have a great night. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Now, how do I stop this thing? Oh, there we go. End stream. Ha!